A star has been clocked orbiting the Milky Way's central black hole at 25,000 kilometers per second, closer than any previously observed. The star S301, detected with ESO's VLTI, reaches that speed while passing closer to Sagittarius A star than any previously tracked object. Its orbit is tight enough for the black hole's frame-dragging effect to measurably alter the path in coming years. Continued VLTI monitoring will tighten constraints on the spin parameter. The measurement offers an independent check on earlier Event Horizon Telescope results. Now, shifting to a different scale of orbital challenge. A new preprint by Hugh G. Lewis at the University of Birmingham warns that current satellite and mega-constellation plans could trigger cascading collisions in low Earth orbit. The analysis models how repeated launches and limited disposal options amplify collision probabilities over decades. Lewis stresses that without stricter end-of-life rules, including mandatory heliocentric disposal and published state vectors, the debris environment could become unmanageable. The paper examines specific growth rates in the latest commercial filings and compares them against existing mitigation guidelines. Follow-up work will test updated disposal scenarios against projected constellation sizes. On a different note, a phased array concept would operate in the radio quiet zone behind the Moon. The design targets frequencies blocked or contaminated by Earth's ionosphere and human transmitters, including the still unexplained 1977 WOW signal band. Picture a single large radio dish placed on the Moon's far side. Every terrestrial transmitter, every satellite downlink, and even Earth's own ionosphere would sit behind 3,500 kilometers of solid rock, creating a silence deeper than any spot on our planet. Radio waves from cosmic sources would arrive unimpeded, while human-generated noise, which already swamps the WOW signal's frequency band today, would be blocked. The proposed array would scan at wavelengths blocked from Earth, listening for faint signals that might reveal the universe's first stars or unknown natural phenomena. Yet the same far side is now targeted for future lunar bases, and each new lander or relay satellite risks injecting its own radio leakage into that protected zone. Scientists still do not know how much interference a single unshielded transmitter would create at these frequencies, nor whether international rules can be written and enforced before construction begins. The team argues construction must begin before additional lunar infrastructure adds its own interference. Next steps include site surveys from upcoming orbiters and prototype antenna tests on Earth analogs. Hubble observations of globular clusters have traced the chemical and orbital signatures of a dwarf galaxy named LKHT that merged with the Milky Way roughly 12 billion years ago. The clusters retain distinct abundance patterns that match the accreted system stars rather than the main galactic population. This evidence strengthens the picture of the Milky Way growing through repeated mergers in its early history. The same dataset is now being cross-checked with Gaia proper motions to map the remnant debris across the halo. Revised stellar mass estimates for early galaxies observed by JWST indicate they contain larger populations of low-mass stars than initial models assumed. The adjustment raises total masses and tightens the tension with standard formation timelines. Multi-wavelength follow-up is planned to refine the initial mass function assumptions used in the reanalysis. The findings come from reprocessing of the same deep field datasets released earlier this year. Astronomers have identified a roughly 23 Earth mass planet still embedded in its natal disk, far exceeding typical core accretion predictions for its age. The object's density and orbital distance suggest it may have formed through a different channel, possibly involving disk instabilities. Additional radial velocity and transit data are being collected to refine its mass and radius. The discovery adds to a small but growing sample of massive young worlds. The Perseverance rover captured a transit of Phobos across the Sun from the surface of Mars, producing a brief, deep partial eclipse. The event was timed to coincide with the spacecraft's science operations window. Images show the Moon's irregular silhouette against the solar disk and will help refine Phobos' orbital parameters. Similar observations are scheduled during future conjunction seasons. Observers across the Americas and Europe will see the Moon pass through the outer portion of Earth's umbral shadow on the night of August 27 to 28. The event completes a rare August sequence that also included a total solar eclipse and the Perseid peak. Maximum eclipse occurs when roughly 94% of the moon's diameter lies inside the umbra. Timing predictions and visibility maps are already posted for public use. 7 institutions will share approximately $10.5 million to build state-level pathways into skilled technical roles that do not require a bachelor's degree. The new NASA Aerospace Skilled Technical Workforce Hubs initiative targets shortages in manufacturing, testing, and operations support. Awards focus on partnerships between community colleges, industry, and state agencies to accelerate training pipelines. Early metrics will track enrollment growth and placement rates into NASA-related contractors. Moog Incorporated has announced expanded production capacity for its Meteorite satellite platform, aimed at high-agility Earth observation and defense payloads. The bus supports rapid orbit changes and precise pointing needed for responsive imaging. New configurations will accommodate larger propellant loads while maintaining the core attitude control architecture. First flight units are slated for upcoming commercial and government manifests. Texas A&M researchers used virtual reality environments plus added smell and touch cues to simulate long-duration isolation experienced by sailors. The work aims to identify sensory interventions that could mitigate psychological strain on future Mars missions. Early results show measurable drops in reported stress when multiple senses are engaged. Follow-on trials will test similar setups with astronaut analogs. A new analysis warns that U.S. industrial capacity is lagging behind the combined demand from commercial constellations, national security programs, and civil missions. Key pressure points include specialty electronics, propulsion components, and qualified launch site personnel. The report recommends targeted investments in domestic suppliers and workforce training. Without action, schedule slips and cost overruns are projected to worsen. A U.S. Air Force aircraft heading to Antarctica reversed course on August 18th after receiving a space debris hazard alert tied to unspecified Russian operations over the South Pacific. The incident highlights how even routine polar flights now intersect with growing orbital traffic. Officials have not released the exact object or altitude involved. Similar alerts are expected to increase as launch rates rise. The first astronomer royal began systematic observations that laid groundwork for accurate stellar catalogs used in navigation. Despite leaving school early, Flamsteed taught himself the mathematics needed to compute planetary positions. His work directly addressed the longitude problem that plagued 17th century sailors. Modern historians continue to study his notebooks for insights into early telescope calibration techniques. The article profiles emerging leadership and partnership models NASA is adopting to expand exploration beyond traditional centers. It highlights how smaller institutions and private firms are being integrated into mission planning. Specific examples include technology demonstrations slated for upcoming Artemis flights. The piece notes that these shifts aim to broaden the industrial base supporting human spaceflight. Keep an eye on upcoming VLTI observations that could refine the spin measurement of Sagittarius A star in the months ahead. That's fascinating frontiers for today. If you enjoyed this, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for exploring with me, and I'll see you next time. And if you'd rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at NARA Network. Links in the show notes. One more thing, if you liked today's episode, our sister show OmniView is worth a spot in your feed, a balanced daily world news briefing that takes every side seriously. It's one of the NARA Network's daily briefings, all free at naranetwork.com. And on the website, every episode's visuals live in our free image gallery at naranetwork.com gallery. Royalty-free under Creative Commons. Download with attribution. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.